So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I will leave my contact information in the chat. So I'd like to welcome you to GSU Spring 2024 Global Career Series. This series features representatives from globally connected organizations to talk to students and recent graduates about rewarding opportunities to work in global spaces, either in Atlanta or abroad. We hope you will feel inspired to pursue global careers, internships, volunteer opportunities offered by these organizations. This series is organized each semester by the Atlanta Global Studies Center, the Center for Urban Language Teaching and Research, University Career Services, GSU's Global Studies Program, and Study Abroad programs. To learn more, please visit the website that should appear in the chat momentarily. Today's session will focus on teaching English at home or abroad, and we are delighted to have with us today Mehrnoush Karimi from the GSU Teaching English as a Foreign Language Certificate Program, Alison Camacho, the Marketing and Outreach Manager of the English Language Programs, a program of the US Department of State, Tsehay Wright, President of the JET Alumni Association of the Southeast, and Christine Erika Seaback, New York State Teachers of English to Students of Other Languages. So in just a moment, I'm going to ask the panelists to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit more about their organization. But first, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items. First, please know that this session is being recorded. We ask that you please keep your microphone muted to reduce any noise during the session. After the presentations, there will be a moderated Q&A. And I have some questions prepared for the panelists, but we would love to hear from you. And if you have any questions at any point, feel free to ask your question in the chat. So if you have a question for a specific panelist, please mention the name of the panelist with your question, so it's easier for me to know who to ask the question. And now let's start and learn more about our panelists and their organizations. Mehrnoush, do you want to start? And I believe you have a presentation for us.
Yes, sure. Let me just
Thank you.
the screen. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Is it in the presenter view or is it?
No, well, I mean, yes, it is on the presenter view. So we see the next slide.
1 second, sorry about that. I mean, it shouldn't be like this, but. Okay, I will just continue like this. Sorry about that. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. My name is Mehrnoush. I'm a PhD student here at Georgia State in Applied Linguistics. I'm also an instructor. Sometimes I teach English courses in the IEP program, Intensive English program, and sometimes I also teach our undergrad courses in Applied Linguistics. So today I'm here to give you some information about our program in general, and more specifically, I'm gonna focus more on our TOEFL certificate, undergrad TOEFL certificate. Just for your information, we are located in 25 Park Place, floor 15. So if you are interested in program, feel free to stop by and we will try to give you some more information. So just an overview. So our main focus in our applied linguistics program is on adult language learning, post-secondary adult language learning and teaching and use. And our faculty members are experts in different areas like second language acquisition and teaching, second language writing, teacher education, language assessment, and so on. We do have different programs, undergrad programs, and also grad programs. Undergrad programs like BA in Applied Linguistics, minor, and also our dual degree in Applied Linguistics. and also our undergrad certificate in TEFL, teaching English as a foreign language, and this is my main focus today. We also have our grad programs, MA and PhD in applied linguistics, and also we are offering our graduate certificate in TESOL. Intensive English program here at Georgia State is also a part of our applied linguistics program, and they do have some English language support classes for international students and non-native speakers. So the main focus of my talk today is going to be on undergrad TEFL certificate. This certificate is a good option for you if you are planning to go abroad and teach English as a foreign language, and it will help you and prepares you to teach English abroad, especially if you are planning to go somewhere and teach English for a short period of time and you are not looking for a long-term commitment. So this is a good option for you. Some graduates do ESL work. Sometimes they do work with our refugee programs or adult education programs. And we do have some volunteer programs that our graduates can work with them. The good point about this certificate is that it's open to all the GSU students and in any undergrad major. So if you are interested in teaching English as a foreign language and you are interested to go abroad and teach English, this program is for you, and it doesn't matter if you are in a different major. So it's open to all the majors. And after getting this certificate, if you feel like that you really like this program, and if you feel that you really like to be more expert in teaching English as a foreign and as a second language, you can apply for our grad program or even for our TESOL certificate. So for getting this certificate, you are required to take 5 courses: Introduction to Linguistics, Second Language Acquisition, TEFL 1, TEFL 2, and English Grammar in Use. In Introduction to Linguistics, you will get some information about the linguistics in general, different areas like phonology and morphology. In Second Language Acquisition, you will get some information about the theories in second language learning, second language acquisition, teaching methods. In TEFL 1 and TEFL 2, I would say they are more hands-on, and you will get some practical experience. For example, I'm teaching TEFL 1 this semester, and my students are trying to design their own lesson plans, their materials, and also they will get 2 chances to teach, one in person and one online. Same for TEFL 2, you will get a chance to design your own portfolios. You will do some micro teachings. You will learn how to do your design your lesson plans and your materials. English Grammar in Use, sometimes I also teach this course. And in this course, you will know more about grammar rules, and you will learn how to teach these to non-native speakers. If you are now in applied linguistics, and if you plan wisely, you are able to get your certificate as you are also in this program. But in general, I would say it takes about 1 year to take all these courses and then get your certificate. So what are the advantages? First of all, I would say this certificate can help you to be exposed to a different language, to different cultures, to different teaching methods. And as I said, you will also get micro teaching experiences, especially in our TEFL 1 and TEFL 2 courses. It's a great way to see if you really like teaching. So in 1 year, you can get this certificate, you can go and teach and see if this is your job and if this is something that you really want to do. You will get a chance to go abroad and teach, so you will live in another culture and you will gain knowledge of the world. You will learn about yourself, because this is more like a kind of self-exploration. You will go to different countries, different cultures, different languages, and it can be very, very exciting. And as I said, if you are not looking for a very long-term commitment, this certificate can be a good option for you. If you are also in different disciplines like border languages, this certificate can be a very nice, I would say, line in your CV. It can help you to enhance your skills. It can help you for your job applications. And also, if you are going to apply for different grad programs, this certificate is a good option and it is a good line in your CV. About the job opportunities, I would say demand is not always the same. It changes all the time. Sometimes it's hard to find jobs in some European countries. But in general, I would say this is good. About the salary, so it is different based on the situations, based on the countries. In general, I would say you will be able to support yourself, but you also need to consider that there are more benefits beyond just the salary. You will travel, you will see different people, you will explore different cultures, you will be exposed to different languages, and it's more like a kind of self-exploration journey as well. So you need to consider that there are more benefits here. So if you get this certificate, maybe you will ask this question, that where should I apply? We do have a career page. I'm going to share the link after my presentation in the chat box. So in this career page, there are some programs that you can check and see if they do have openings and you can apply for, like our JET program. It's the Japan Exchange and Teaching English program in Korea, like our Peace Corps and so on. There are many programs that you can apply for. In this career page, you will also see other internship opportunities. There are also some volunteering opportunities, and also a list of different associations that you can just enroll in and just go and see different cultures and different languages. So, and of course, we do have, there are more benefits beyond teaching. I just want to skip this part because I need to finish my presentation. But yeah, there are many other things and there are many more benefits for you. It's not just about teaching. And I'm going to share these links with you in the chat box. These are the resources. And if you are interested in this program, in our Applied Linguistics program, or even if you are considering this program as your grad program, these are the people that you can contact with, and these are the links that you can just check to get some more information. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mehrnoush. And I think we'll have opportunities to talk about benefits beyond teaching in
Yes.
during our Q&A, hopefully. So thank you. It was very informative.
Sure.
Although we work at the same institution, I didn't know much about the program. So thank you. I'm learning a lot.
My pleasure.
Alison Camacho, Marketing and Outreach Manager at the English Language Programs, a program of the U.S. Department of State, will now give us a presentation. And if you have any questions for Mehrnoush, in the meantime, feel free to type those in the chat and we'll address them during the Q&A. Alison, whenever you're ready.
Okay, let me go ahead and make this a slideshow. Can everybody see my screen okay?
Yes.
All right, so also as a grad of the Applied Linguistics Department at Georgia State University, thank you so much, Mehrnoush. If anyone has any questions for me, I was a grad of that program way back in 2005, and I also was the director of the intensive English program for 3 years, and the teacher. This is, I know Mehrnoush talked about the certificate program and maybe just kind of dipping your toes in the field and getting that certificate so you can travel abroad. Our program does require a graduate degree in TESOL, applied linguistics, or a related field. The reason being is that our projects majority of them are teacher training, or they are high-level university-based positions where you are teaching the 4 skills to teachers who also have master's degrees. So it is a little bit more later on in your career. Our educators need to have at least 5 years of classroom experience in English as a second language or English as a foreign language, or working with English language learners or multilingual language learners. U.S. citizenship is required, as this is a program of the U.S. Department of State. And I will share all these links in the chat when I'm finished, but this is our program website right here. Most of all, though, if somebody asks me, what do you need? What is the skill set? What are the requirements of being a person in our program? I would say number 1 is flexibility. And I would say that with anybody who is working with international populations or working abroad, As an English language fellow, you have primary duties with your host institution, but you also have secondary duties where you're working with other institutions. There are moments as a fellow where you might be told that you're just there to introduce yourself to your host institution, and suddenly you realize on the spot that you're there and you're designated to be there for 2 hours to give a talk about English language teaching in the US. So our fellows are very flexible. They are very resourceful. They are able to also exhibit the diversity of our educators in the United States in a really great way. So those are just some of the skills. All of these things you see on the slide here are duties that our fellows often do in country. They work on community projects, which are often based on their own self-interest. They work on public diplomacy. They are often giving plenaries at large conferences. They are often giving professional development sessions and so on. And there are so many career paths. I can say personally, as a fellow in Mexico, when I finished being a fellow, because of that experience, I was able to move above and beyond more roles. I wanted to do this. I love being a teacher. I was a teacher for over 15 years, but I was able to become a director of an intensive English program. I led a lot of short programs and grant projects, and now I'm in marketing and recruitment. So because of all the different experiences I had, I was able to move into different sectors of my field. But many of our program alumni become not just teachers or teacher trainers or program directors. They become amazing teachers and teacher trainers and directors. They become leaders in the field, curriculum designers, English for specific purposes experts. We have a big push right now and a big need for educators with artificial intelligence experience, educators with English for climate change or sustainability, social emotional learning experts. Those are really in high demand with host institutions abroad. So we look for English language educators who also have that other field experience. A lot of our program alumni become foreign service officers or publishers or editors, consultants. I was asked to share a fun personal anecdote, and as I was looking at all of our panelists today, I was like, wow, look, I'm the alum extraordinaire today, not to talk about myself too much, but I was a JET alumni, and I know we're going to hear from Tsehay, I think, next. I was in Toyama, Japan from 1998 to 2001. I'm also, as you know, an alum of the Applied Linguistics program at GSU from 2005, and I'm a fellow alum. And I know Christine's going to speak later today, but she's from New York State. I am from New York State, so I was born and raised in the New York education system, and I thought it was great. So that's my personal anecdote. And why do we do what we do? I'm going to share this later, but if you can just read some of the titles of the stories we have about alumni and participants in our program, they do amazing things. They work with amplifying the voices of indigenous communities in Brazil. They work with giving assessments for deaf learners in the Philippines. They work with refugees here in the United States in their current roles. So they really do amazing things. And again, I will share all the resources in the chat. And I'm so sorry I did go over a couple minutes, but thank you so much for allowing me to share.
Thanks, Alison. Thank you so much. I'm learning a lot. And I think that's a great transition to the JET program that we're going to talk in just a second. Tsehay Wright, president of the JET Alumni Association of the Southeast, is now going to tell us a little bit more about the JET program. Are you, oh, wonderful. I can see your screen. And if you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to ask those in the chat. Thank you.
Okay, I think this is the regular view, right? Good. Cool beans. Hi, then. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. My name is Tsehay Wright. I am a JET alumni, and currently I'm actually the president of the JET Alumni Association of the Southeast. I participated in the program from 2015 to 2017 in Nagano-ken, and it was so nice to hear both Mehrnoush and Alison, yes, talk about the JET program. So I'm here to give you all of the nitty gritty of that. So without further ado, the mission of the JET program, JET stands for Japan Exchange and Teaching Program. So it's to promote the internationalization in Japan's local communities by helping to improve foreign language education that is primarily in English and developing international exchange at the community level. So essentially you're going to Japan to teach English to a Japanese community. So the program is indeed a paid program. It's a full-time job opportunity. It's not a study abroad or volunteer. You're actually living and working in Japan. And by living in Japan, it is a complete immersion as well in a foreign culture and a cultural exchange opportunity as well. Because as you're learning more about the Japanese culture, since you're living in that community, you're also expected to share a little bit more about your culture too. It's also a life-changing experience for both professional and personal growth. And then there's an online application process, which we'll get to in a minute. But the types of positions, I think both of these roles are pretty like English oriented, but the main one for teaching English is an assistant language teacher, and that's what I was. And basically what you do there is, as it says, you assist with the teaching of or the learning of those Japanese students English. There is a Japanese teacher of English who teaches most of the grammar. And then what I did was basically just play games to supplement the grammar points that they were learning. And then there's another position called Coordinator for International Relations. And if you're thinking, does that girl look like her? I have a twin sister who's actually on the program right now as a Coordinator for International Relations. And what they do is sometimes they do teach English, but a lot of what they do is going to be more of like translation, interpretation, like receiving foreign guests in Japan and like taking them around, helping like foreign nationals in Japan in their areas, like with different aspects like getting visas or finding work and things like that. It's a lot more oriented towards really sharing culture as well too. So eligibility, really, I think y'all are on the right track. The main thing is you have to have a bachelor's degree, be a US citizen, and guess what? You don't even need to know Japanese. But if you have a strong interest in Japan and like a grasp of the Japanese language, I feel like that will kind of up your chances as well too. And as far as skill sets required, teaching isn't even a skill that you really need, but you do need to have like that customer service type of skill, because you will be serving people. You have to be interpersonal and friendly and things like that too. And if you have like a certification like the TESOL or anything like that, that'd be great experience as well. As far as different career paths you can take, there are so many. Me, myself personally, after I completed the program and came back to the United States, I actually started working at a Japanese company in human resources. So I was recruiting, and then that transitioned into higher education. So I actually work now at Georgia State University at the Robinson College of Business as a career coach for the master's students here. But again, there are so many different paths really, from translation, interpretation, to international relations and diplomacy. So like even working at the Japanese consulate is what I see a lot of JETs do as well. Tourism, hospitality, nonprofit, government work. It's all different types that you can get into. And then here's my little personal anecdote. Again, I was in Nagano Prefecture, which is a place full of mountains and rice fields. It was beautiful. I loved how nature oriented it was. This is me doing the gig teaching. I taught at 2 elementary schools and 1 middle school. And then just the benefits of the program, one, being involved in Japan. So I joined a hip hop group and actually like learned how to dance in Japanese, which helped my language ability, making friends in my neighborhood who knew when all of the cool festivals were happening and like took me with them to go, letting yourself experience culture firsthand, like the food and travel. Nagano was known for apples. So I went to like an apple foot spa and did a lot of apple picking. And then really just being a cultural ambassador like for America while I was in Japan. It was a great experience. Application is a pretty extensive application process. with it opening up in mid-September. And then I like announcements for interviews come in like early February. We just finished that. And actually the first batch of new jets was just announced a couple of weeks ago. And then there's an orientation once you get a placement, and then you depart for Japan in September. But if you want more details about that, and I'll put a link here in the chat after my presentation, you can check out the website. The application for the 2024 JET program, or starting in 2024. It's not open yet, but it will open most likely in mid-September, but I'll leave information there. And then if you're interested in learning more about the JET program, or even just getting involved with the Alumni Association to meet other alumni who participated, check us out. I'll drop the link here too. We'd love to chat with prospective JETs, and you can come to all the events and things like that that we plan. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Tsehay.
Trying to keep in time. Was that good?
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much. And sorry if I didn't pronounce your name correctly earlier. Tsehay, right?
Yeah, Tsehay, like say hi.
Tsehay. Okay. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing the pictures and the anecdotes. And our last panelist, Christine Erika Siebeck from the New York State Teachers of English to Students of Other Languages, will give us our last presentation before we move on to the Q&A. Hi, Christine. Are you able to share your screen? And in the meantime, don't forget that you can ask questions in the chat at any point. So we can see your screen.
Hello.
Perfect.
Thank you. I have been going from different laptops and different devices, and we know how that goes. And that device is kind of like, do I know you? So here I am. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for the shout out to New York. It's really amazing how all of us presenting today have a motif, right? We have a theme. We're all here to support one another. As a collective, we can really move mountains for our students. And I truly believe society at large. Right. I think a lot of us are here because of that reason. So thank you very much to my colleagues who presented. My name is Dr. Christine Erika Siebeck. I live in New York. I'm a native New Yorker, tried and true. And however, I am a global citizen. I've been everywhere from Cambodia to Vietnam to South Africa to Jersey. No, I'm just kidding. But, you know, there's lots of things. And what I love about meeting with Ethan is the fact that we had met at TESOL International. So TESOL International Association we are an affiliate. New York State TESOL is an affiliate of TESOL International. So I had the pleasure of meeting Ethan. So a lot of us are very like-minded, and we really inspire one another. So there's lots of things that Ethan is an expert at that I look forward to tapping into his expertise and passion in the future to perhaps add more enrichment to support all of our members and make it completely inclusive. So I'm looking forward to that, Ethan. So just to move on, this is me when I was the vice president of membership for our organization. And we do tons of promo and just different ways to get other people involved. And as far as I'm concerned, as a past president, I was president last year. I'm the immediate past president this year. So I'm still on the executive board. It's number one. Our members are number one, and how we can support our members and engage our members in meaningful activities are, as you can see in our mission statement, we tell you that New York State TESOL is a professional organization for New York State educators and more. So that's another point that I'm looking to present explicitly to everyone, that we are international as well. It's amazing when we have a virtual event and we say, okay, everyone drop your pin where you are. And we have several participants from all over the world and other states as well. Again, when I'm connecting with someone like Ethan in Georgia, and then New Jersey TESOL's president, Ohio TESOL's president, and California, it's pretty amazing. It's amazing. And what we can do with each other and motivate each other. So again, we're not just New York State. So that's something that we're looking to change. Through New York State TESOL, educators have access to ongoing professional development, career advice, and mentoring. and a voice at the state and federal committees making policy changes about EL education. And something that I know Ethan's involved with, and we're moving into this, is the white paper. So we also have white papers and we also have position papers. So New York State TESOL has been quite involved for decades. This is our 54th year. That's right, 54 years we've been sustaining, doing quite meaningful work in our field for our students and educators. And we normally are very accustomed to writing position papers. But as we're working with Jeff Hutchison from Advocacy in TESOL International, Ethan, other colleagues, we're looking at white paper. So a white paper does overlap, as many of you know, with a position paper. Generally, we're writing position papers of advocacy to legislators, state ed, to move policy, to change systems, just to them. But where's our empowerment in that? It's great. And our empowerment is passing that paper along as a collective. However, in writing a white paper, we're finding that we're doing that. It's basically, my understanding of the white paper at this moment is it's a position paper to legislators, but it's also what can we do? What can each of us do and empower each of us in the meantime? What action can we take to solve issues and support all? I mean, that's just really an overview, but we know it goes much deeper than that. Again, New York State TESOL was established in 1970 to bring together and support professionals concerned with the education of English language learners. In New York State, we say ELLs, E-L-L. However, throughout the country, I think many states say ELLs, E-L. But we pronounce it the same, right? So all levels of public and private education in New York State. For 50 years, now it's 54 years, we have vigorously supported our members and colleagues as the field has evolved. So the field has evolved and there's many changes that we're making. So we do love tradition and we love to stand on the shoulders of those who had advocated and fought the good fight before us. At the same time, we also do like to be flexible and change to current situations because that's much more productive and meaningful and effective. So we are an organization of advocacy. New York State TESOL's successful leadership in advocacy, professional development, and education and outreach requires the support of many of your financial gifts. So sometimes we are looking for different types of fundraising, and a lot of times we're holding tons of professional development. Professional development for our members is free, is complimentary, comes with your membership fee. And if there are people who are non-members who want to come to just one or two events, they usually pay a fee. So we just consider that a gift towards our organization. And speaking of a gift, we now have ways to support future educators and teacher candidates. So if you are a current student enrolled, I will show you the link or guide you towards the link to join our organization complimentary. So if you're a current student, I created a promotion last year where current students, college and university students and doctoral students as well, can show their school ID. And then there's a little bit of a process, but it's quick. And you have tons and tons of benefits to join our organization, New York State TESOL, for free. Moving on, we have advocacy and volunteerism and camaraderie are what have built New York State TESOL and why it has sustained for 54 years. Now we need even more support than ever. As advocacy groups such as Puerto Rican Legal Defense and Education Fund, they've supported the Aspira decree in 1974 that created the mandates for school districts with 20 students or more of the same home language that then has school districts having to have and provide bilingual education, transitional bilingual education in New York State. And after that, in 1974, several other states were able to use this as a precedence. So that was a very big movement. So again, our advocacy back in 1974 up until today, we create a lot of movement in state education departments, such as teacher education certification. Recently, we're very proud to say that we have been able to support a movement and initiative to create Indigenous Studies, an Indigenous Studies teacher certification in New York State, and we got it. We got it recently. So that's something that we're rolling out just to share the hope and that what we do together is very meaningful. So every person has a space and a place in our organization, and they have a voice. And I'm going to show you how we structure that. So if you are interested to be part of our organization, or if something I tell you perhaps motivates something that you can add to your organization, I'm happy. So moving on, like I said about the Aspira decree. So I'm sorry, I just meant to cut that out. So there's even more perks of being part of our organization. We have administrator symposium. I also, through that practice, I have initiated an educational leadership special interest group. A problem we're having in New York State, there's a gap in, we have to solve, we're looking to work with pathways for graduation for English language learners. And it's one thing to get them to graduate, but then what? So what we're doing now with New York State TESOL is linking leadership from K to 12 school districts, adult education ESL programs, ELL programs, ESOL programs, and higher ed. So we're looking to create that and fill that gap with more articulation between different leaderships and different levels of education. Another problem we're having in New York State, there's a gap in properly, believe it or not, even in New York State, where there's a gap in properly certified bilingual educators and the pipeline to actual positions. So we're working through that along with New York NYSABE, New York State Association of Bilingual Education, and other groups as well. We're looking to fill that gap. And I truly believe that the creation of an educational leadership SIG, special interest group, will also help to create more information and get more items going. Then we can perhaps create a white paper and move forward with that. That way we're talking to legislators, New York State Ed, and also people within school districts as well, and everyone will be working. Obviously, I'm seeing this through rose-colored glasses, but it really does, it does take step by step, but a lot of hands make lighter work. We also have an Applied Linguistics Winter Conference. It's turning more into a spring conference. A lot of things have changed since the quarantine and COVID and different virtual situations. So you could look out for that. That's something you can join, complimentary as a member, or I think we're charging $19, not 20, but 19. So someone's trying to get a little bit of marketing in there, thinking that might be a little bit more interesting. We also have a virtual, which we're all educators, right?
Christine, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to make sure we have enough time for the Q&A.
Sure. Okay, I'll tell you this one last part, if that's okay.
Thank you.
We're looking for people for who have specialists. So as we're moving forward in 2024, we need people who are good at marketing. So sometimes we're looking for either a student intern or that position can possibly turn into a paid position. And we do have some paid positions within the different aspects I've mentioned. Just quickly, this was our theme for the past few conferences. We have called for proposals for our next coming up conference in November. We have special interest groups, several. We have networking events that we connect with. We also have we have tons of special interest groups. This is the technology event coming up. If you'd like to scan that QR code, we'd be so happy to have you on. If you miss the QR code, you can email me. And there's several other items. I can share this presentation with everybody too.
Yeah, that would be great. If you
Thank you
share
so much.
Thank you, Christine. If you share the PowerPoint, we'll be happy to share it with the participants.
Outstanding. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for your presentations. Not seeing any questions in the chat, I will go ahead with my first question, and hopefully that will encourage our participants to ask questions as well. You talked a little bit about the benefits of teaching English abroad. What, in your experience, what is the most rewarding aspect of your experience teaching English abroad? I know, Tsehay, you mentioned teaching English in Japan.
Absolutely.
You all have experience teaching English abroad. So could you tell us a little bit more about what's the most rewarding aspect of that experience?
Yes, and I think most teachers will say this, and I didn't realize that this would be my experience too until it happened, but really the most rewarding part is like seeing the students like get excited about English. Japan, like school is very important, and like they work really hard. So I wanted my classes to be productive, but also kind of a time for them to have fun. And so when they were having fun with English, which is a subject I knew they didn't really enjoy anyway, that made me feel happy, and that was rewarding for me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to add to that question? Alison?
Could add-
Yeah,
oh.
so I taught English in Japan for 3 years, and I trained teachers in Mexico for the 10 months. And I honestly can say I grew up in a really small town in upstate New York, the village of Bath, New York, population 5,000. Never had a family that traveled abroad or lived abroad, really. We went to Canada to see some baseball games, and just it changed me. I became a global person. I became a person who just embraced everything. I learned so much. So I think the impact and the reward for me was seeing how much I was able to grow. But also I want to speak specifically about the teacher training project with the English Language Fellow Program. Part of the project was it being sustainable. So the teachers I trained there had no experience or methodology training at all, and they were teaching these children English, and they were just having them color in coloring books and just saying color red, color blue, and that was their whole 30-minute lesson. And walking away, I was able to train 10 teachers to continue the teacher training that I had done when I left. So it was sustained. And we even created a teaching conference and invited other local university teachers to come. And then that pilot program that I worked on became a full-time program that now they have English in the primary schools in Durango, Mexico. And that huge impact is just, you walk away from it and you're like, wow, I was a part of that. And seeing it being sustained and carry on, and just the people-to-people relations you make abroad, where people might have generalizations and stereotypes about who Americans are and what we represent and what we look like, and being that person to be able to say, we are all unique and diverse, and I am learning from you just as much as you are learning from me. I think that's the big reward for me.
I love that. It changed you. You became a citizen of the world. That's powerful. And we need that more and more, I think. I think so we have a question in the chat about the challenges, the biggest challenging of teaching abroad. What are some of the most challenging aspects of teaching English abroad? Can you share any? Mehrnoush, do you want to tell us?
I do have some points to mention, because this semester I'm teaching a TOEFL course, and I would say most of my students are very interested in teaching English abroad. And sometimes we do have this discussion about the culture, how the culture can be different from one country to another. And it can be also one challenge for teachers if they are going to go somewhere and teach. So I would say one of the biggest challenges of teaching abroad is teaching to people who are coming from different cultures than your own culture. And these differences can sometimes be big challenges, but I would say there are different things that you can do as a teacher to make sure that you are coping with these differences. For example, if you are interested in teaching abroad, and if you are planning to go, maybe at this moment, as you are here in the US, as you are, for example, in a program, you can start by now and try to get to know different people from different cultures. We do have different student clubs, different associations here at Georgia State. The link that I provided earlier, if you check, you will see that there are many associations that you can just enroll in and see if they do have some events, or even there are some volunteering opportunities. For example, one is about South America, and you can just go and know people there, try to expose yourself to different languages and different cultures. I know, for example, for some of my undergrad students are also trying to learn a new language. And I think this is a very good start, because learning a new language can also help you to learn about the culture. Being a member of these associations can also help you a lot to know about different cultures and different languages. I feel that, yeah, culture can be a big challenge, but you can do something about that.
Right. Yeah, I agree. It's teaching in diverse contexts and can be challenging. Christine, did you want to add to that question?
Yes. So as an experienced teacher in K to 12, I noticed there's several educators who have studied abroad, and then there are many who haven't. So when you do have that rich experience and you do have English language learners coming into your school and multilingual learner students, you alone as that educator are so valuable to be able to teach students in not only New York State, but all over the United States. And for example, you have these great anecdotes to tell. I taught English in Venezuela, believe it or not, in the 90s. I know. That makes me much older than a lot of people on this call. However, it was before lots of different government strife was going on in the coup d'etat and everything. And I still get a lump in my throat having lived there. I have such empathy for the folks of Venezuela. And no matter where I go in the world now, whether it's Peru or there's tons and tons of immigrants from Venezuela. And I can sit there and they look at me, they say, "You lived in Venezuela?" So I have that to connect with people as well. I also have stories, and I was much younger. So I was saying things like at the table, I speak Spanish quite well. And I was saying, "Can you please pass the salt?" And in Venezuela, there are several people who believe it's bad luck to directly pass salt hand to hand. So they would put the salt on the table, and I'm thinking, "Oh my goodness, what did I do?" And then everyone would be silent, and they say, "What's wrong?" And they say, "Oh, you have to tell her we don't pass the salt straight hand to hand because it's bad luck." So little things like that, you might become offended, but yet it's a funny story afterwards. So I also remember teaching adults at Fundayacucho, which is an educational foundation through the Ministry of Venezuela, the Ministry of Education. And I'm from New York. And I don't know if you can tell, but I talk quite quickly. So when you're teaching English language learners, I can't speak at that rate. And that was very humbling to me. So when we talk about challenges studying abroad, those challenges turn into opportunities. Those opportunities make us better adults, right? And even better English or second language educators.
Absolutely. Thanks, Christine. And if we have time, we'll talk about, um, the benefits of uh, teaching abroad, not just for people who want to become educators here in the US, but also for other professions. Hopefully, we'll have time to kind of talk about this. But I see one more question in the chat, more of a technical question. Can you teach English abroad long-term with just a TEFL certificate, or is the TESOL certificate necessary for that? Also, is an MA required to earn TESOL certification? So although the question is open to anyone, Mehrnoush, did you want to kind of address this question?
Honestly, I'm not very sure about the first section of the question. Maybe other presenters can help. But for the second part, that also is an MA required to earn TESOL certification, I would say this is not a required certificate. I mean, it's totally up to you. If you are very interested in teaching English as a second or as a foreign language, having this certificate can be a very nice line in your CV. Also, because of this certificate, you are required to take some courses that are TESOL focused, and you will take some courses that these courses will prepare you that how you can teach English as a second and as a foreign language in I would say in a very professional way. And you will get the knowledge and the skills you need to be a good teacher. But I'm not sure about the first part, so maybe other presenters can help.
I know for that, the JET program, the TEFL is not a requirement. So you can teach English on the JET program for up to 5 years as a assistant language teacher without having that. But it depends on the program, because I do know the EPIC one for Korea does require one of them. I can't remember if it was the TESOL or the TEFL, but you do need you need to be certified to teach English. So look up which program you're interested in.
Yeah, it sounds like each program has different requirements, and I think also long-term, it depends what you consider being long-term. So it sounds like 5 years for the JET program is I don't know if that's what you were thinking when you were mentioning long-term, Simone, but so hopefully that answered that question. If you have more questions, don't hesitate to ask your question in the chat. I see that we only have about 5 minutes left, so I don't know that we'll have time for another question. Ethan, what do you think? Should we just wrap up?
I think it's just wonderful to have a conversation like this. But I think because people starting to put the email address in the chat. So if you feel comfortable, feel free to put, your organization's email in the chat. And then if the student have more questions, then we will definitely, they will definitely reach out to all of you. But I think we still have like 4 minutes left, but I just want to bring my own experience as well, because I teach English not only like abroad, like in Vietnam, but also in the US. And I feel that one of the things that the student or the future educators can do and can learn from is from the student. And also, like from your personal story as well, from your lived experience, because when you stay and live in the different parts of the world and you don't speak the language, but I think something that connects you with the student is the stories, right? And I think that when we come into the different space, I think first of all, we have to put our ego aside, right? And then be humble and then learn from, what the cultural values of that host country can offer to you. And I think, throughout the different programs that the panelists are talking today, then you would be able to have so many opportunities to not only become the global citizens, but also start to get into the journey of learning about yourself, and I think that's just, the wonderful things. And I cannot thank you enough for everyone who come here today and share your stories, but also like share so much information about your organizations. We also have the symposium this Friday. I'm going to put the link in the chat for everyone. So this symposium that focus on the language of sustainability and the global south. And I think that is kind of like the topic that we really need right now in order to bring everyone together, especially from the different aspects of the world, So I'm going to put the link in the chat right now. Give me a second. Atlanta Global Studies Center. Then hold on for a second. Let me put it in the chat for everyone. And then it's actually, this event is free for everyone. So if you would be able to register today, then we would be able to like figure out about the catering, about the registration, and we truly hope that this space is gonna discuss or tap into some sort of like the topics that the students and faculty are interested in. And we have a global networking event where some of the speakers today will have a table, will come and then talk with you in person and then talk more about the interning and hiring opportunity. So thank you so much, everyone.
All right. Well, thank you. Mehrnoush, Alison, Tsehay, and Christine for your time, for telling us more about you, your organizations, and your programs. We learned so much. And this was our last session of the series. But if you missed any sessions, you can view them on our YouTube channel. And I believe we'll paste the link in the chat. And finally, I'd like to thank the Atlanta Global Studies Center, the Center for Urban Language Teaching and Research, University Career Services, and GSU Study Abroad programs for organizing this series. We wish you a happy end of your spring semester and best wishes on your career journey. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.